Hey y'all, it's X. Welcome back to another video, and today we are doing my first 2026 mock draft of the year. We are at about mid-season now, so I'm a little bit late to the train. I was going to do a way too early one. I told myself, I wasn't going to do as much draft content this year because kind of got burnt out of it last year, so instead we're just going to start a little bit late, so I kind of have a good idea of what players are doing well this season, what players are falling, things like that. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. This draft order, we are using PFF, obviously. I'm not doing trades or a second round. So this is just round one, no trades. And yeah, basically, this is the draft order that they have. Not an official draft order, obviously. This is just what Super Bowl odds are right now. So that's what we're going to be rolling with. And yeah, remember to leave a like and sub if y'all mess with the content. Let's jump right in. So, Jets at number one. Yeah, this really sucks. Justin Fields has played horribly in the past 2 weeks. He has 90 passing yards in the past 2 weeks. Yeah, the Jets' passing game has been abysmal the past 2 weeks. Their team is 0-7. Like, you need something to jumpstart this rebuild. And I really don't think the Jets have a horrible roster. Like, I would say, like, the Titans are a much worse roster. The Saints are a much worse roster. Honestly, right now, the Browns, outside of Myles Garrett, might be a much worse roster. The Raiders, outside of Max Crosby, and maybe a couple other people, probably a worse roster. Like, the Jets have players. You have Sauce Gardner, you have Garrett Wilson, you have Quinnen Williams, you have Breece Hall when he's healthy, you have AVT when he's healthy. I like their tackles being Membu and Fashanu for the future. Like, they have pieces on that team, they just don't have competent coaching, and they don't have a quarterback. And we're going to fix that problem. So we're going to be taking my current QB1 in this class, Fernando Mendoza. This QB class has not shaped up in the way that I thought it would. I thought this was going to be a generational depth class of QBs, but I guess that never really happens, so why would I expect it to happen this year? I really went into this year like, okay, Arch Manning's going to perform, Lenore Sellers is going to perform, Mendoza wasn't even on my radar, Dante Moore. I always had my eye on Dante Moore. I liked him at UCLA. Ty Simpson wasn't on my radar. Garrett Nussmeier fell off. Mateer was definitely on my radar. Klubnik I thought would have done better. Aller, we hoped he did better, but he just didn't. Carson Beck, you wanted to do better, but he just throws all of his draft stock away in the biggest games. But yeah, I mean this class just really hasn't lived up. Nico, a lot of people had on their radar. As soon as he went to UCLA, I was out on him. Like, look what they did to Dante Moore. I don't know why he'd go there. But yeah, Fernando Mendoza's been the best QB in the class this year. It's pretty close. I think it's him and Dante Moore, honestly, is like 1 and 2. Ty Simpson's making a very good case for 3. If Mateer didn't rush back from injury, he would have been my QB1. I loved him a lot for those first couple of weeks. But yeah, Mendoza just played Dante Moore in Oregon, got the best of him, and they both had some struggles in that game, but I do think Mendoza did play a little bit better. And I do think Dante Moore could honestly benefit from staying 1 more year to develop, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he comes out this year and is a top pick, because he also deserves it as well. But yeah, for the Jets, you just need a franchise quarterback. Justin Fields is not the guy at this point. It sucks. I always wanted to root for Justin Fields, but he just hasn't made the improvements in the areas that we've needed him to. Dolphins at pick 2 here. So they're in an interesting predicament where I want to give them a quarterback, but the problem is you have Tua on a $50 million contract, and I don't see any way that you're getting out of that anytime soon. Like, I don't think he can be a cut candidate. You're going to have to eat way too much cap, I think. I don't think anybody's going to trade for that massive of a contract. Like, I think you just kind of have to ride it out with Tua, at least until he is a cuttable contract. I don't know what the contract looks like, so I could be completely wrong and he is a cut candidate, but as far as I know, that does not seem like an option. It's most likely if somebody wants to take the risk and trade for him, that would really be their only option. So if that's the case, you want to just strengthen what you have. And with Tyreek Hill being a true cut candidate this year, we're going to take the best receiver in the class, and that's going to be Jordan Tyson. He's been incredible for Arizona State this year. I just watched his game against TCU. He's just a monster. Like, every week he just continues to prove why he is the best receiver in this class. It's not even close. Number 3 here for the Saints. Spencer Rattler's coming off of a really bad game, but he hasn't played terribly overall this year. It's just where are you going to go this high in the draft is my question. Like, you could go offensive line, but there's not really any guys here who are good guards. that I would take this high. Like, I guess if you want to take Fano, but you're not taking a guard at 3. Their corner room could really use some help. Like, I would honestly debate Mansour Lane here, but might be a little bit high for him. I honestly want to go Caleb Downs here. I'm not going to lie. Caleb Downs is a really, really good player. The problem with him is just he's a safety, and the NFL does not value safeties yet. Until they do, I'm not going to be taking them high in the draft. But to me, he is probably the best player in this class. It's him or Ruben Bain. The Saints don't really need edge, though. That's why I don't really want to go Ruben Bain. Peter Woods is interesting. I don't know if he's played up to the level of where he should this year. Arvell Reese is interesting. Hybrid linebacker, edge rusher. This is a really weird spot to be in, honestly. Like, I think it could be a QB. And maybe it is a QB. Maybe Kellen Moore does want to get his guy. Yeah, I'm talking myself into it. We're going Dante Moore at 3. Number 4 for the Titans. We are running this pick to the podium. It is Ruben Bain Jr. Again, 1 or 2 in the class. We'll say 1A, 1B with Caleb Downs, I think. But Ruben Bain has just been absolutely dominant this year. Nobody's been able to stop him. He's made all of the improvements in the areas that I've wanted to see. I think he's a good run defender this year, too. Like, he's just absolutely dominant as a pass rusher. And, yeah, I think he's going to translate amazing to the NFL. Ravens here at pick 5. This is where I'm going to take Peter Woods. He's a great run defender, has some pass rush upside. I do think we wanted to see a little bit more from him this year to be a little bit more dominant, but I think the Ravens need interior help so badly that, like, you don't have a choice but to go D-tackle. You need Nnamdi back next year, and hopefully somebody else next to him. So that will be Peter Woods. The Browns here at pick 6. I would argue Ty Simpson. I do think that's their kind of quarterback. But I think I'm not a fan of going quarterback in a situation where it's like they're headed to a bad situation, if that makes sense. So I would want to do something to improve this team first, like around a quarterback. And there's 2 things that are looking at me here. It's either offensive line, because their offensive line still is just okay. But I think what I'm actually going to go with here is a receiver, and that's going to be Carnell Tate. Carnell Tate's been incredible this year. I honestly didn't expect him to have the leap that he did in terms of, like, becoming better as, like, a route runner, better contested catch guy. Like, I feel like he's just a very, very solid player this year. He kind of reminds me of, like, Emeka Egbuka in some ways. Like, just the fact that, like, a lot of people are going to be like, well, why are you taking him top 10? He's not even the best receiver on his team. Emeka Egbuka was never the best receiver on Ohio State. But he very clearly could have been a top 10 player last year. And I think Carnell Tate has made very similar improvements. And I think he can win on the outside. He's got really good size and, like, speed as well. Like, I believe, 6'3", 195. He's almost kind of built like Marvin Harrison Jr. was last year. I wouldn't say that they're very similar, but I do like both of them, obviously. Raiders here at pick 7. You just need offensive line help. I'm debating who's my tackle 1, whether it's Fano or Maligoa. It's really close, honestly. We are going to go with Fano here, though. Worst case, Fano ends up being a really, really good guard, I think. He's, I believe, the shorter of the 2. I don't know. How big is Maligoa? Maligoa is 6'6". I believe Fano is actually 6'5". They have him listed as 6'6" on here, but I think I heard that he's 6'5". Yeah, I think that would be a better transition to guard if things go bad. Hopefully you're not taking a guard at pick 7, and he is a true tackle. But yeah, I do like Fano. He just hasn't been as dominant as I thought he would be this year. Kind of sucks. But he's still a very good player. Giants at 8. I know a lot of people are going to want to say go offensive line. I'm not taking a guard in the top 10. And we don't really need tackle. When Andrew Thomas is healthy, he's amazing. Jermaine Illuminor has been more than serviceable. So I would honestly look away from that. So I think our next biggest need is corner, and I'm going to go with the best corner in this class, being Mansour Lane. Tay Banks is absolutely getting cooked every week. Drew Phillips just needs to calm down a little bit and not get as many flags. But Drew Phillips is also amazing. Cordell Flot's played pretty well this year. Paulson Adebo is fine signing. I'm not mad at it, but he hasn't been amazing. But Delane could come in here and be a true cornerback 1, which we desperately need. Cardinals at 9, we are going to go with Arvell Reese, who I think has probably been the best player at Ohio State this year. He started to play a little bit more edge. I shouldn't even say a little bit, a lot of edge. So he's kind of a hybrid linebacker, and I do think that if any coordinator were to hopefully get the most out of that, it would be Jonathan Gannon. There's a ton of wind outside right now. Okay, I don't know what that is. But I would hope that Jonathan Gannon could get the most out of Arvell Reese. I know he hasn't really done it in the past, but he's had these kind of profiles before with like a Zaven Collins. I don't think he was there when Isaiah Simmons was there, but that kind of linebacker is what I see with Arvell Reese. Texans at 10, you need to protect C.J. Stroud. We're going CC Mauigoa here to Miami. He's just been very, very consistent this year. That's kind of the thing with him, is he's not overly dominant, but he's just consistently good. And honestly, you can't. That's what C.J. Stroud needs right now. He's completely fallen out of top 10 talks. Like, some of it being him, some of it and a lot of it being the offensive line and the team around him. He just hasn't been as accurate, but also doesn't have as good of a situation as he did in his rookie year. I don't know why the Texans are trying to do more with less. He's not that kind of quarterback. Either way. Bengals here, pick 11. Sadly, CC Mauigoa going means that I don't like any of the tackles here. I would honestly just go with one day 2 at this point. I wouldn't reach and take somebody that I'm not as confident in. So this kind of raises some questions as to where we should go. Like I said, I'm not going interior this high. Edge is a question because Trey Hendrickson's not going to be here forever. And you know what? I'm going to show some love to David Bailey out of Texas Tech. He's been incredible this year, very dominant. I think he's a good complement to somebody like Shamar Stewart, who has the pass rush upside, but he hasn't fully shown that. Better run defender. David Bailey to me is a DPR guy, so if Trey Hendrickson stays, David Bailey could be a rotation guy who plays on third downs, but if Trey Hendrickson leaves, hopefully in more than a year, David Bailey has some time to develop his game, become more well-rounded, and he could be a true edge 1 or edge 2 in the league. Washington here at pick 12. There's a couple options I'm thinking of for them. Jeremiah Love would be interesting. He just came off of a very, very big game, like 228 yards or 38 yards, I think. Crazy numbers. But this team really needs help at a lot of different positions. Edge being one of them. They just lost Dorrance Armstrong for the year. We're going to go TJ Parker. I like his potential a lot. He hasn't been very dominant, as nobody has really been for Clemson, but I do still have faith in him. I like his build. I like his athleticism. I think if he goes to the right system, and I do trust Dan Quinn to develop him. They've been able to have a very, very solid defense with middling edge rushers, so if they can get somebody with the potential to be a true edge 1 in the league, I think that Washington defense could actually be dangerous. Dallas here at 13. They could use O-line, but their O-line's actually been really good this year, honestly. Linebacker's interesting, somebody like Sonny Styles, but I really want to look at D-line, but I just don't. If Caleb Banks was healthy, I would go with him. I do like Christian Miller a lot. Yeah, we're new with Christian Miller. I think Christian Miller's a really good player out of Georgia. That Georgia defensive line has not been the same as it has been in recent years. But Christian Miller really pops on tape. He has some really big wins, but he just needs to be more consistent with it, honestly. But I do think that strengthening the middle of that defense, getting somebody next to Kenny Clark, would be huge for Dallas. 14 here for the Minnesota Vikings. To me, I think their biggest need is probably cornerback. And we're going to show some love to Colton Hood, who has been amazing in the absence of Jermod McCoy. I don't know if Jermod McCoy's back yet. I'm honestly not putting him in the first round unless, like, it's a team I'm really confident can afford to take the risk if an injury pops up with him. But Colton Hood has been crazy, honestly. So, good for him. He's going to go in the top 15 here. I think he's a really, really good fit to the Vikings. Chiefs here at 15. Hate to see it, but they're going to get Jeremiah Love. Yeah, just an incredibly talented player. The Chiefs' biggest issue right now is their run game. And once they can open up the pass with the run, I feel like you're going to see some shades of 2019 Chiefs again. You have Xavier Worthy, who hopefully could replace Tyreek Hill. Or, if he gets cut in the offseason, they might just go after Tyreek Hill himself. So, we'll see how that goes for the Chiefs. Hopefully they don't win any more Super Bowls, because I'm kind of tired of it at this point. Panthers at 16. I'm going to show some love to Caleb Downs. Like I said, I think he's arguably the best player in this class. It's just the NFL does not value safeties. When you look at where Kyle Hamilton went compared to where everybody thought he should have gone, I believe he was picked 14 to the Ravens. I view Caleb Downs in a very, very similar way as I do to Kyle Hamilton. And Kyle Hamilton, to me, was a top 3 player in the class. So, yeah. The NFL just hasn't really gotten up to speed on valuing safeties, but they can really be game changers for the defense. It's obvious that, like, they don't do a ton. Like, your ordinary safety does not do a ton, but when you have somebody like a Caleb Downs or a Kyle Hamilton, they are almost damn near the anchor of your defense. So I think if you get a player like that, it's really, really helpful. Pick 17 for the Rams here. We're going to go LaNorris Sellers. Honestly, could have been a top 5 pick this year if he was healthy and if that South Carolina play calling was a little bit better. I do think he and Nick Harbor should go transfer and go ball out somewhere. I would like to see them go to, like, Miami, since Carson Beck will probably come out. But I do think if LaNorris Sellers is going to go in the first round, it's going to be to one of these teams that can afford to sit him for a year. So I do want to see that happen, honestly. If he does come out this year, I want to see him go to a team where he is not going to start right away. I don't want to see a team throw him to the Wolves, because I'm scared that he'll end up like Justin Fields because he holds the ball for too long. There are times where he just doesn't make the right read. I do think he's like more accurate than somebody like an Anthony Richardson, obviously, which is what a lot of people compare him to. I don't think they're similar. Sellers has a lot more experience. And yeah, I have more faith in Sellers than I do in somebody like Anthony Richardson, who I did have a ton of faith in. But either way, pick 18 for the Chicago Bears. This is an interesting spot for them to be in. I do want to see them get an edge rusher, honestly. Maybe a D lineman, but I do want to see them get an edge too next to what's his name, Montez Sweat. So I'm gonna go with LT Overton here. He's played really, really well. I don't know what the fit looks like with Overton because he's more of like a inside-out kind of guy where he can play both inside and the edge. But I do think that's valuable for a team like the Bears to have, honestly. And I believe Dennis Allen's their DC, so I feel like he could be viewed in a similar way to like a Carl Granderson maybe, just in terms of size, like a Cam Jordan, something like that. The Browns here pick 19. I talked about this before. I am going to give them Ty Simpson, just because I think he's the type of quarterback that Stefanski's going to want. It really depends on what they do in free agency, but, you know, getting him a weapon in Carnell Tate might help. But they do need a quarterback, unless Shador does get to start at some point this year and show some flashes. Like, I'm not really sure. Pick 20 here for the LA Chargers. They need interior, honestly. And I think we're going to go Caleb Lamu here for that. Yeah. The Chargers' offensive line has just been abysmal. They've been destroyed by injuries, and Justin Herbert just needs help. So we're going to go with Caleb Lamu there. Bills here at 21. I'm going to show some love to another great player in this class. I really want to throw Dylan Thieneman in here because I think he's been incredible, but I can't do it. Like, I hope Cole Bishop develops, but Thieneman's way better. But we're going to go to Sonny Styles here. I think Sonny Styles is a really, really good player. Perfect fit for the Bills, honestly. I think he could play like the Matt Milano role really well. But he could also complement him in the meantime. Like, Sonny Styles, Ohio State just has the best linebacker core in the league. Like, I don't know. They're going back to back. It's pretty simple. Pick 22 for the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to go with Caden Proctor. He stepped up in the past couple of weeks. True left tackle, which there are not many good ones in this class. So Caden Proctor is kind of the one that you'd want to take, but I don't know if he's going to go super high. And I'd rather bring him to a team like the 49ers, who I trust to develop their offensive linemen. You also keep him away from the Eagles, who would probably take him in a heartbeat. Yeah, Caden Proctor is an absolute unit, just 6'7", 366. Yeah, he's a demon. But yeah, he could develop behind Trent Williams for a year. Hopefully Trent Williams doesn't retire. But yeah, just give him time to develop, be more technically sound. I think you'll feel a lot better about him. Seattle here at 23. This is a really... I'm not going to do it. I was considering Kenyon Sadiq, who I do view, honestly, as a top 15 player. It's just teams need more than tight end at this point. They did just draft Elijah Arroyo, but my thing with Sadiq is that you see a lot of A.J. Barner playing right now, and A.J. Barner isn't amazing, but he's just a really good blocker, and he showed some receiving upside. Kenyon Sadiq is a really good blocker with incredible receiving ability. So maybe the Seahawks are comfortable with using both Barner and Arroyo, but if you just want one player to do both things, I would highly encourage them to go Sadiq. But they do have bigger needs, such as the interior offensive line. And I do think I'm comfortable taking one more interior in this class. It's not going to be any of these tackles. Caden Green would be interesting. I didn't even realize he's playing tackle now, but I do believe he was a guard before this. But looking at the interior, Connor Lutor's ACL. Would have loved him as a pick here, but he's out for the year. I'm going to show some love to Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon. I do think he has potential to go in the first round. He's a really, really good player. Lions here at 24. We're going to go Keldrick Falk. They need an edge too next to Aiden Hutchinson. They're still looking for that. I would also consider corner. Avion Terrell would be really interesting for them. But they just need help on that edge, in that edge room. Especially if Aiden Hutchinson gets hurt again. Like, you don't want to see that. Steelers at 25. I honestly want to go receiver for them here. Like, the thing that sucks is, like, they don't really have anybody in the room right now that I would trust. Like, Will Howard is a maybe. Aaron Rodgers, he's honestly played well enough to the point where you might just re-sign him next year if he still wants to play football. But we'll see. But maybe the answer is they just Band-Aid. Because, like, I want to go Mateer, man. And you know what? That's the smartest choice. We're going Mateer. I would go Makai Lemon here, but John Mateer tanked his stock, honestly, coming back from that injury. He just hasn't played as well. But man, like, what he was putting, the numbers he was putting up before were just incredible. Hopefully, Aaron Rodgers comes back for a year. Mateer doesn't have to start right away. He can learn a little bit. Make sure he's 100% healthy before he plays football again. Like, it's a risk, but it's one that I think the Steelers could deal with. Pick 26, though, I'm not going to let Makai Lemon fall any further. He's a top 15 player in this class as well for me, but I just, again, other positions I wanted to address for certain teams. I don't even know if he'll fall this far in the draft in real life, but the Broncos just need to continue to surround Bo Nix with weapons. It's clear that they don't have much trust in him right now, as they're throwing a ton of screens right now, not really pushing the ball down the field whatsoever. And Bo Nix just hasn't looked amazing, honestly. He's not taking the steps I thought he would. He's been fine enough to keep their offense afloat, but, like, Sean Payton is very much keeping the training wheels on, and it's not really what you want to see from a second-year quarterback. So maybe surrounding him with some more weapons will help out. LA here at 27. We went Lenore Sellers at 17. I'm going to go corner here, and we're going to go Keith Abney. Keith Abney, shout out to Hail Mary Sports. He's really put me on to him. I've watched a ton of Arizona State now because I've obviously been looking at Jordan Tyson. Keith Abney really pops off on defense. He's a really, really special player. Good in man coverage. He honestly kind of reminds me a little bit of Sauce Gardner. I'm not going to say I like him as much, and he doesn't really have the same size, but just the aggressiveness, the play style, it does really remind me of how Sauce plays. Eagles here at 28. I might have to give them Kenyon Sadiq, but they need guard really badly. They need guard, but you know what? The problem is there's just not a ton that I'd really want to go with here. Like Caleb Tiernan or Isaiah World would be interesting, because Isaiah World is around 6'5" and could probably start at guard. But, you know, we're going to go with a more proven player here, and we're going to go Avion Terrell. I think Eagles desperately need boundary corner. They're not throwing Mac McWilliams on the outside, which might as well try something rather than keeping Ringo out there. DeJean could go back to the slot. I feel like this would be the best move. Avion Terrell honestly reminds me a lot of Isaiah Rodgers, who they had a couple. Was that a year ago? 2 years ago? I don't even know if he played for them like that, because he was suspended for a year. Did he come back to play for the team? I don't even remember. Patriots at 29. I mean, Kenyon Sadiq would be a monster pick for them here, honestly, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to give them an edge here. Do I show some love to Quincy Rhodes? How's Quincy Rhodes been? He wasn't great against Notre Dame. He did start off the year really hot. Quincy Rhodes was somebody that I liked a little bit out of Arizona, or Arkansas, sorry. I just don't love these edge rushers. Like, maybe Mateo. Maybe Mateo Uyunglele, who's been solid. He was really good in this Penn State game. I didn't really see how he did against Indiana or Rutgers. Corner's an interesting thought for them, but I do like their corner room, honestly. Maybe a receiver would be a good spot, but they need more size at receiver. Ooh. Denzel Boston's interesting. You know what? Yeah, let's throw some love to Denzel Boston. We're going to get Denzel Boston here in the first round. A true X receiver, who I think has played really, really well for Washington this year. He's got the size, he's got the hands, contested catch ability. Just a really good fit for somebody like Drake May, who's great at giving his receiver chances in one-on-one situations. Could be your true Stephon Diggs replacement once he gets to that age. Cowboys here at 30. We took Christian Miller at 13. Sadly, Sonny Styles already went, so I can't really go with him. I know they don't really do this, but I'm going to give them a safety. We're going to go Dylan Thieneman. They don't take safeties high, but what's his name? Donovan Wilson has been one of the worst safeties in the league this year. So Dylan Thieneman, let's, get some decent safety play in there, honestly. 31 for the Bucks. I'm going to stop the fall of Kenyon Sadiq. I don't know why he's falling this far, honestly. Like, he's a really talented player, and sometimes teams just need to go BPA, but when I see BPA and then I'm like, ooh, but there's also this player that's a really good fit for this team, I'm probably going to go with them. So Sadiq falls to 31. How many Oregon players go? 1, 2, 3, 4? Okay, 4 in the first round. Can we make it 5? Are there any Oregon players I like left? Mari Washington and Mateo would be the 2, honestly. Pick 32 here for the Colts. I'd love to go QB, but it seems like Daniel Jones might be getting another big contract, which is kind of funny. This is a team I'd say could afford the risk of Jamad McCoy's injuries. They could also go linebacker. You know what? I'm going to show some love to Anthony Hill, who I think is a really good player. So yeah, Anthony Hill, not having the greatest year. Like, he's been fine. He was a lot better last year, but Texas as a whole has been terrible this year, so can't really solely blame it on him being bad. But either way, this is the draft. Let me know how I did for your favorite team. I know some people are going to feel a way about people like Caleb Downs. Definitely Kenyon Sadiq falling. Mekhi Lemon maybe. Maybe there's still some John Mateer truthers out there. But yeah, let me know how I did for your favorite team. This is only the first draft of the year. I don't think I'm going to be doing these weekly. We'll see. I feel like there's a lot of draft content to put out, so maybe we'll do it like every couple weeks, just as like a check-in until the draft. I definitely don't want to burn myself out of draft content this year. So yeah, we'll probably be doing that. Walking Dead series coming soon. Yeah, that's really all I got to say. So remember to leave a like and sub if y'all mess with the content, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.